Part 41. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 401. The 5 fingers are all of different lengths, let alone the psychic force. These members start at different times. For example, the members of the psychic force in the current field group have not yet really taken control of the leader of the field group. Having never experienced being controlled, the leader of the field team had no idea about the rebellion of the psychic troops. The wolf team suddenly killed the members of the psychic troops in their team. Of course, the leader was furious. His question also stunned the wolf group elite conscript on the spot. However, after realizing the situation here, the conscript cleverly performed a military salute and explained, "Sir, I am the soldiers under the wolf group were ordered to come and eliminate the members of the psychic force and bring the words of the team leader. Sir, now the psychic force has rebelled and has secretly controlled many field team leaders, and even some commanders have been controlled. If left alone, the risk will be extremely harmful, so I hope that the commander will temporarily give up attacking the allies and send troops to clear out the psychic troops." What this mobilized soldier said was indeed what Wang Ling told him. If he was facing some team leaders who were controlled and later rescued, he would naturally be very convincing. After all, he had personally experienced the fear of being controlled. However, the current team leader did not fall into this category. After hearing what the wolf group mobilized soldiers said, he was even more furious. You control the field team leader? Why wasn't I controlled? You kill my soldiers without saying a word. Is this the way your wolf group behaves? Do you have my consent? Sir, this. The wolf group mobilized soldiers were confused by what he said on the spot. Lingzhan. It happened that at this time, the commander of the base to which the field group belonged also sent a message, "Base number 15 has rebelled." Now it is sowing discord everywhere, instigating various field groups to retreat, trying to prevent our army from conquering the allies. Don't be fooled by them. Cheated. Hearing the news, Lingzhan, the leader of the field team, was also shocked. He quickly checked the electronic map and found something abnormal. The wolf group is indeed operating on a large scale, wiping out the psychic troops and persuading other field groups to focus on quelling civil strife and minimizing losses. But on the surface, these activities do look like signs of rebellion. After seeing it, uninformed people can easily misunderstand it. For example, Lingzhan, who was misled by the commander, immediately believed this fact. It turns out he's spitting blood. "Brothers, surround me." Lingzhan had a bad temper originally, but now he was even more angry. With a wave of his hand, dozens of soldiers surrounded the wolf group mobilization troops and anti-aircraft crawler vehicles. The mobilized soldiers of the wolf group were also a little impatient. "Sir, what are you doing? The rebels are the psychic troops. Why are you surrounding me? Are you also following the rebellion?" He did not hear the previous radio conversation and had no idea that he was being tricked. Lingzhan sneered and said, "Why, are you blaming me again? What benefits have the allies given you to make your entire base rebel? Are we rebelling? Sir, you must speak with your conscience. Lingzhan, stop talking nonsense to him and kill him." The two sides were still confronting each other, but their commander lost patience and directly issued a kill order. This after Lingzhan got the order, he also looked embarrassed. However, this dilemma did not last long, and a decision was quickly made, and the leader started shooting. When the other mobilized soldiers saw it, they also opened fire. The members of the wolf group who originally came to rescue were actually killed by their own troops in the end. Who finally killed him? This guy is really a hindrance. In the command post of Lingzhan's base, the commander saw the scene and breathed a sigh of relief. Beside him, there were 2 deputies who had just died, and not far away there were the bodies of several staff members who were slowly disappearing. If you look carefully, you can see that there is a red connection on the top of his head, connected to another figure in the command post, and it is another member of the psychic force. In this base, even the commander has been controlled. Although he killed the wolf group member, the psychic force member was not happy at all. Instead, he looked at the electronic map, frowned, and said to himself, it was obviously a very covert operation. Why was it exposed? Did it happen? Did there appear to be any flaws at base No 15? Master, do we still want to order Ling Zhan to continue attacking the allied base? After all the corpses around him disappeared, the commander who was under control asked. That's right, he calls the psychic force master, not commander. Even if this psychic force member wants him to commit suicide immediately, he will not hesitate to draw his gun and commit suicide. This is the terrible thing about mind control. Although the controlled people have their own thoughts, all their beliefs have been transferred to the psychic troops. For these controlled people, the psychic troops are their masters. Is the sky, but they are willing to be the puppets of the psychic army. When asked this question, the member of the psychic force gradually narrowed his eyes. After thinking for a while, he finally made a decision. The original leader's idea was to secretly control a large number of team leaders and some commanders. When the coalition forces defeated the allies and suffered heavy losses themselves, they suddenly used the power of these puppets to severely damage the coalition forces and clear the obstacles. But now, the good layout has disrupted base number 15, and there is no way to do it anymore. We have implemented it step by step according to the previous plan. Since it is chaotic now, we have no choice but to make the scene even more chaotic. Thinking of this, the members of the psychic force directly ordered, let Ling Zhan continue to attack the allied base, destroy the target at all costs, and then immediately transfer the target and continue to attack other allied bases. In short, no one of them can come back alive. In addition, you then contact the commanders of other bases and tell them about the rebellion at base 15 as much as possible to disrupt the public and aggravate the chaos. Yes. The commander immediately took the order and was controlled. He could even risk his life. Why would he still care about the chaos? At that moment, the commander hurriedly issued an attack order to Ling Zhan. At the same time, he contacted the commanders of other bases on a large scale and spread the word. Everyone, something big has happened. There is a fire in the coalition's backyard, and there is a rebellion at base 15. Look at the electronic map. The combat team under base 15 has given up attacking the allied base. At the same time, it has sent troops everywhere to disrupt military morale and instigate. Each field team gave up on this easy victory to win a breathing space for the allies, and at the same time carried out a miserable massacre of our psychic troops, which was a disaster for one party. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 402. In this speech, the commander spoke with a cadence and a deep hatred, as if base 15 had a grudge against him for killing his father. He spoke with such hatred that he wished he could kill 10 of them immediately. Like all the personnel at base 5, even professional actors would feel ashamed when they saw him like this. I don't know what benefits the Allies gave them, and I don't care to know, but they are in the Allied camp, but they secretly help the Allies get out of trouble, and even massacre our troops, which is intolerable. While his emotions were brewing, the commander continued to instigate. Since he was confusing right and wrong, did he still care how serious he was? What? How is it possible? There is a rebellion at base 15. Don't be kidding me. Base 15 has made a great contribution to the coalition as a whole. It beat the Allies hard. How can it be possible for them to rebel? Although I say that, if you look at the electronic map, there are indeed troops from base 15 wandering around the fronts, killing members of the psychic force, and every time a soldier will come down, many field groups have been blocked. A general attack. I have also seen this, including the field team under my command. However, the team leader reported to me that the psychic force was the rebel side and secretly controlled him. The anti-aircraft tracked vehicle of base number 15 instead saved him. If you block General Lewicki alone, open the radio frequency band on a large scale, and spread this news, you can imagine how much impact it will have in a short period of time. Many commanders who didn't know the truth were talking and expressing their opinions. This sudden change also caught them off guard and they couldn't recognize the truth. The base that spread the news and provoked the trouble was the commander of the coalition base number 12. After hearing the comments from others, the commander number 12 seemed a little annoyed. The psychic force rebelled? Have you seen it with your own eyes? This is a common tactic used by base number 15, to fabricate news about the rebellion of the psychic troops, take the opportunity to massacre the psychic troops, and at the same time disrupt the morale of the military. This is a destructive act, so don't be fooled. Some commanders who didn't know the truth were speechless and didn't dare to express their opinions easily. The chaos of this matter was somewhat beyond their expectations. But your mother's carrot fart. Some people dared to resist and even scolded him rudely, such as General Logo Er. Although Commander number 12 specifically shielded General Lewicki, General Logo Er was left behind. General Logo Er had also heard these words before. At this point, he finally couldn't listen anymore and explained, "Spiritual, the troops rebelled. You did not suffer a loss. You do not know the truth. We witnessed it with our own eyes." The leader of the field team who was controlled did not obey the orders at all. He even took bullets for the psychic troops until he beat the psychic troops to death. Just return to normal. You said, if you secretly control my team leader, he doesn't want to rebel, what else does he mean? That's right, my field team also encountered the same thing. They were rescued by tracked vehicles and mobilization troops from Base 15 and reported the matter to me after General Logo Er. There were also people echoing, for example, Zhao Wuji, the commander of Base 14. General Lewicki had previously contacted him alone to explain the rebellion of the psychic troops, but after all, the matter was so important that General Zhao Wuji did not dare to express his position or respond for a while. However, this matter fermented too quickly. The Wolf Group launched a large-scale operation to kill the psychic troops. Even his field group was affected. After receiving the report from his team leader, General Zhao Wuji, almost I believed it 80%. Now, the incident has escalated further. Commander number 12 actually notified all bases, accusing General Lewicki's base number 15 of rebellion. Things were so abnormal that he had to tell them. Yes, it's the same here. The field team under my command has withdrawn from the battle line, but they don't dare to move troops everywhere like Base 15. They are stationed and waiting for orders. Same, number 12 said Base 15 was in rebellion, but Lao Li accused the psychic troops of rebellion. It remains to be determined whether this matter is right or wrong. Don't label Base 15 as a rebellion at once. If it is really a rebellion, then why only kill the psychic troops? After Zhao Wuji, some other commanders spoke out and refused to be instigated by the commander of base number 12. You are confused. However, there were also people who sided with commander number 12 and began to criticize, how long have we been preparing for this battle, and how much effort have we spent? We are about to succeed and end the stalemate battle for hegemony, but his base on the 15th suddenly jumped out and said that the psychic troops were in rebellion. What does this mean? This means that there is indeed a problem with the base on the 15th. Maybe the Allies are in danger, and they are also anxious. The person who spoke seemed to be an old acquaintance. He was actually the commander of the number 6 coalition base, Major General Lovsky, the commander Wang Ling first came into contact with. Whether it is Wang Ling or Xiaoping Wang, they are all old acquaintances with Major General Lovsky, but at this time, he falsely accused base number 15 of rebellion, which can't help but make people sigh. But you can't blame him, because when he was making accusations, the member of the psychic force in the command post of Base 6 was always sneering. That's right. If we say that the psychic force has controlled the leader of the field team, then why are we always fine here? Second, the battle for hegemony is about to be won. It's such a coincidence that something like this happened suddenly. When it comes to the rebellion of the psychic troops, I think there are people who don't want the Allied forces to fail, and they are ruining the morale of the army here. Obviously, it was not just Commander Number 12 and Commander Number 6 Lovsky who were controlled. After Lovsky, there were two other people who also directly stood in line to denounce Base Number 15. This made General Logo very angry. You bastards, who are you ruining the morale of the army? The psychic troops rebelled, and the impact was more serious than that of the Allies. If you don't help at this time, you will be trapped. Li Hong beats him up. I think you bastards are all under control. You. When they were exposed to this incident, several of the commanders who were under control immediately jumped a little. Major General Lovsky directly scolded, "You are a bastard, and your whole family is a bastard. I think even you have the potential to rebel, you bastard. You've just been controlled. How come your big ass farts so stinky?" General Logo himself is a bit of a gangster. He speaks without scruples and swears frequently. This is no longer surprising. But now these commanders are acting like shrews, which shows how impatient General Logo is making them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 403. Haha, why are you so anxious? Did I tell you the truth? General Logo laughed angrily, mocking the four commanders unceremoniously. The three of them wanted to retaliate, but Commander Number 12 suppressed them and responded, Base 16? They are on the same city defense line as Base 15 and wear the same pants. No wonder we are here. It is stated here that Base 15 rebelled, but you are anxious. I think your Base 16 is also rebelling like Base 15, but here you are confusing right and wrong and spewing blood. You. General Logo was angry, but before he could say anything, Commander Number 12 said very simply, I neglected this point and put him into the radio. Get out of here right now. Since you are rebelling, why are you still beeping here? Just wait for the trial by the coalition forces. As he spoke, Commander Number 12 directly turned off the frequency band to General Logo base, just like kicking a single person out of the V-letter group in the real world. How dare you, Grandma, kick me? I just want to see if you, bastard, can survive this disaster. Even if you survive, if I touch you in the future, I will kill you severely. On the city defense line, in the number 16 base command post, General Logo was talking and suddenly lost his voice. He realized that he was kicked out of the group chat, which is called a big rage, and he was just roaring in the command post. However, after calming down, he quickly contacted General Li Wiki and told him all about it. They are not stupid either. Through the radio call just now, they can basically determine which bases they are, and even the commander is under control. In the original group chat, although the commander of base number 12 spoke righteously, he actually felt guilty and acted overbearingly, which made other base commanders look down on him. What a domineering approach. If you can't explain it, why don't you just purge people? Haha, do you think we are fools? We didn't explain everything clearly, so we just purged people. Do we feel guilty for being thieves? I think this matter can't be explained at all. Even if they continue to talk about it, they will be at a loss for words, so they simply don't even let them talk. Tisk, tisk, we have seen this overbearing method. What is right and wrong, although the final conclusion has yet to be determined, but don't think of us as fools. Come on, Since we have already made a judgment and some people are not allowed to say anything, then what are we talking about? Goodbye. If you don't leave, are you still waiting to be cleaned up? Yes, bye. This radio connection is quite ridiculous. General Luo Er was kicked, which directly triggered a chain effect. The commanders who were originally biased towards General Li Wiki actually ridiculed him for a while, and then took the lead in turning off the radio communication and exiting the group chat. Among the many commanders, there are naturally many people who do not know the truth and want to see the wind direction and other results. However, when the matter has reached this point, although the facts are not clear, it is obvious that there is no way to continue the discussion now, and it is simply suspended. After losing control of radio communications, there was a period of withdrawal fever. Once this withdrawal fever started, there was no way to stop it. Many commanders interrupted communications one after another. After a period of time, there were only 4 bases and 4 commanders left in the entire large band radio communication. It's ridiculous to say that Commander number 12 was ordered by the psychic force to connect to this large frequency band and wanted to frame base number 15 for rebellion and stir up trouble. However, in the end, General Luo Er was able to mess it up all by himself. Although the situation is indeed chaotic, in fact, none of this group of commanders is simple. Through the conversation just now, this group of people also made their own judgments in their hearts. It can be said that the entire large band radio communication is like moving. It was as if a stone had hit one's own foot. As a result, the remaining 4 commanders remained silent for a long time, as if they had not yet recovered from the situation. It took a long time before someone on the radio broke the silence. Did only 4 people successfully control the commander? The person speaking was not a commander, but a member of the psychic army. All other commanders cut off communications. Without other eyes and ears, these psychic troops naturally had no scruples and communicated in person via radio. It looks like it's just the 4 of us. Before, we had a special discussion on whether to control the commander or the leader of the field team, but now it seems that it is better to control the commander, which has a greater impact. Look at other people, although they successfully controlled the leader of the field team, but we were discovered, and we were hunted on a large scale throughout the decisive battlefield. It's no wonder that others are there. After all, when we come to this battlefield, we are supposed to obey the orders of these commanders and field teams. Some commanders seem to be particularly repulsive to psychic troops. They refuse to let us get close to them no matter what. They will be specially transferred out. More of them will be assigned to the field team. There is no other way if we don't control the field team leader. Same. However, what I care more about is base 15. How was it exposed? Who is in charge of base 15? Why is it so stupid? At base number 15, the person exposed was Wit. I happened to witness this process with my own electronic video. Wit tried to control the team leader, but failed. Instead, he saw through and killed him. Oh! Among us, Werther's psychic power is quite outstanding, but he failed. Who is the team leader he controlled? Is his willpower so strong? That person is Wang Ling, the leader of the Wolf Group. He was trained in the psychic army, but he failed to pass, so he did not become a psychic army. The leader mentioned this person in particular at the beginning and seemed to be very optimistic about him and wanted to recruit him. I was still a little angry at that time, thinking that he didn't even have the spiritual power and was a loser. How could the leader treat him differently? But now it seems that the leader still has a vicious vision. This person is indeed not simple. The big plan actually had a flaw from him at the very beginning. No matter how strong your willpower is, can you be stronger than our psychic troops? Let me see, that idiot Werther is underestimating the enemy. There is no need to discuss this now. Our plan has been seen through. This Wang Ling will kill him sooner or later. The attitude of other commanders is ambiguous, but in my opinion, After this contact, they basically those who are instigated by us may turn against us. That's right, the plan has changed, and it can't be implemented step by step. There are still 4 of us to control the commander. Although the old plan will no longer work, we also rely on these commanders to make temporary plans. As long as we can attack the coalition forces as much as possible, even if it is successful. Don't they say we are rebelling? Then we will really rebel and show them, and use the power of these 4 bases to disrupt the overall situation. But the commander is under control. Will the soldiers under his banner agree to the order of rebellion? No, so we still have to deceive others, continue to spread dirty water, confuse the public, and use the name of rebellion in other bases to cause destruction. If you continue to refuse to obey such orders, then we will kill you. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 404. On the battlefield of the decisive battle, among all the members of the psychic force, these 4 were the most successful. Each of them controlled a coalition base commander. With the help of the commander's majesty, they can accomplish too many things and plan too many conspiracies. Of course, the prerequisite is that their soldiers buy it. Although it is said that soldiers have a bounden duty to obey orders, if they order the shooting of their comrades who they live with day and night without warning, or if they rebel against the coalition forces they are loyal to, it may also cause resistance from many officers and soldiers. For this reason, the 4 members of the psychic force discussed it and decided that the 4 puppet commanders should brainwash their soldiers first and instill the thoughts of rebellion in other bases, and they needed to send troops to exterminate them. Naturally, this kind of brainwashing met with very strong resistance when it first started. Many officers and soldiers refused to believe it. After all, the news was so shocking. However, the 4 commanders then brought out the evidence and exaggerated the excuse that Base 15 sent troops to block the psychic troops and hinder the progress of the war for hegemony, turning all the white things into black. In addition, this group of officers and soldiers had no authority to cross the command post and contact other bases. Even if they did, it was only one of the 4 bases. They were colluding, confusing right and wrong, and under the continuous indoctrination and brainwashing, many officers and soldiers were confused. At the same time, General Liwiki and the others were not idle. After learning that the commanders of the 4 bases were very likely to be controlled, General Liwiki also learned this method and ignored the 4 commanders alone. He opened the radio frequency band and contacted the commanders of other bases to clarify the rights and wrongs and discuss countermeasures. Speaking of which, the strategy of the psychic army was originally very hidden and insidious, but there happened to be an alien like Wang Ling on the battlefield. He was wary of the psychic army from the beginning, and his willpower was so strong that he was immune to mind control. As a result, Wit's operation failed, and he immediately learned about the rebellion of the psychic troops, and then responded quickly. With many members of the psychic force, they secretly controlled many field team leaders and even commanders. If they rebelled and sabotaged them together after the battle for hegemony, they could really cause great damage to the coalition forces. However, Wang Ling acted in advance, killing first and then telling the story. He sent troops to the battlefield on a large scale to kill members of the psychic army. The already increasingly chaotic scene gradually became clearer, and even other commanders were vaguely aware that something was wrong. Under this premise, this group of commanders was more likely to believe General Liwiki's words, and the radio contact was quite smooth. However, there are still some stubborn commanders who do not want to believe this fact. Naturally, whether it was Commander No 12's previous beating, or the subsequent brainwashing, or the current conversation between General Liwiki and others, during this period, Wang Ling and the others have not been idle. A large number of anti-aircraft tracked vehicles on the battlefield are still there. During the attack, from time to time, members of the psychic force who had succeeded would be killed, and the corresponding field team would then report to the commander and make a ceasefire decision. There were even anti-aircraft tracked vehicles that rushed directly into other coalition bases, running unscrupulously and quickly killing members of the psychic force. One or even several members of the psychic force died almost every once in a while on the battlefield. Of course, not all anti-aircraft tracked vehicles went so smoothly. In addition to the previous failure to dissuade Ling Zhan from Base 12 and being counterattacked, the same situation also occurred at Coalition Base 6 shortly afterwards, and even required be more direct. It seemed that Major General Lovsky had received the notice. The magnetic storm coil guarding the intersection showed no mercy. The Wolf Group's anti-aircraft crawler vehicle had just approached, and before it had even had time to enter the base, it suddenly launched a powerful electromagnetic attack. In an instant, the anti-aircraft tracked vehicle exploded, revealing the elite mobilization soldiers of the Wolf Group inside. Suddenly encountering this kind of thing, the conscript suddenly became a little panicked. He couldn't protect himself, and he didn't care about killing the psychic troops anymore. He turned around and wanted to escape from this land of right and wrong. But the magnetic storm coil refused to let him go at all. It accumulated enough electromagnetic energy, and then a thick electromagnetic attack hit the soldier, killing him instantly. Bastard! The Wolf Group took action on a large scale. As the leader of the group, Wang Ling naturally participated in this operation personally and was currently on the road in an anti-aircraft crawler vehicle. During this period, Wang Ling was of course watching the electronic map at all times, taking an overview of the entire battle situation. Many of the Wolf Group's anti-aircraft crawlers made great contributions, and the soldiers who stepped down successfully explained the current situation. This was not beyond his expectation, but the two Wolf Group members who were killed made Wang Ling furious. In this mission, those who can be sent by Wang Ling are naturally the elites of the Wolf Group, and they are the most trusted soldiers by Wang Ling and the most capable soldiers. However, these two elite soldiers of the Wolf Group did not die on the way to the charge, but were poisoned by their own troops. How could Wang Ling accept this? Yuri. Psychic troops. You did a great job. Wait for me, I will kill you sooner or later. Knowing the culprit of all these incidents, Wang Ling did not vent his anger on the controlled coalition troops, but focused all his hatred on the psychic troops. However, how difficult is it to wipe out Yuri and wipe out the entire psychic army? It simply can't be done in a short period of time. What Wang Ling has to do now is to calm down this chaos as soon as possible so that the coalition forces can reduce their losses. While on the road, Wang Ling finally arrived at his target front, the area where Xia Tian's fire group was located. However, it was observed from the electronic map that the fire group had stopped attacking without knowing when, and had withdrawn from the Allied base's sphere of influence. It was now stationed on the periphery, not knowing what it was waiting for. Arriving at this place, Wang Ling was a little curious, got off the anti-aircraft tracked vehicle, and faced the fire team in person. In this fire group, there are many soldiers and tanks with extremely strong combat effectiveness. At the same time, there is also a member of the psychic army who is watching eagerly. This guy is naturally Wang Ling's target. The people from base number 15 are indeed here, and they are also the team leaders. Killing him will be a great achievement. Do it. After seeing Wang Ling, the member of the psychic army smiled sinisterly and took the lead to take control of Wang Ling. However, when Wang Ling came into contact with the hypnotic voice in his mind, he just snorted and completely eliminated all the thoughts in his mind, and his mind control failed. Not only that, the members of the psychic force had clearly given the order and took the lead in launching the offensive, but no one in the fire group responded. Instead, they looked like the old gods were there, as if they were watching a show. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 405. What are you doing? Take action. Are you also rebelling? Seeing that they were unable to control Wang Ling, the members of the psychic army seemed to be a little panicked. They turned around and saw the group of officers and soldiers from the fire team who were watching the fun. They were so angry that they almost felt like roaring when they accused them. Wang Ling was a little confused for a while, but the members of the fire team refused to take action, which was convenient for him. He smiled coldly and said in turn, "I really admire your ability to catch thieves and beat them up. However, you can't use it in front of me. The psychic troops have to kneel to me too. If you dare to attack me, the leader will not let you go." The members of the psychic force were a little scared, and even started to pull off the big tiger and move Yuri out. But Wang Ling didn't accept this trick at all. "Yuri? Sooner or later, you will kill him with your own hands. Now, I'd better ask you to die." After saying that, Wang Ling was too lazy to talk nonsense. He raised his hand and released a powerful electric current, which hit the psychic troops one by one. Wang Ling's soldier-level electromagnetic attack can even cover about 50 enemy infantry units in one round, suppressing and killing them on a large scale. But now it concentrates all its power on a member of the psychic army. That how destructive does it have to be? He was killed almost instantly. As for the death of the members of the psychic team, the expected mental connection to Yantian did not appear. Looking at this scene, Yantian was unmoved and followed the entire fire team members, watching with different expressions. Looking at Wang Ling. But Wang Ling was a little strange. "Yantian, are you not under control?" Xia Tian sneered, "Maybe it's luck, he hasn't had time to control me yet." "What are you doing?" Wang Ling asked. Xia Tian looked at Wang Ling with great interest and replied, "The commander told us that there is a rebellion in base number 15 and is sending troops everywhere to block the progress of the war for hegemony. They are killing the members of the psychic army on the grounds of rebellion and ordered us to temporarily stop attack, retreat, and wait for the troops at base 15, and kill them first." Oh! Wang Ling was a little surprised. The emotional fire group retreated early. Was it waiting to kill him? However, neither Yan Tian nor the other members of the fire team had any intention of taking action. Wang Ling put his heart in his stomach and asked with a sneer, "The members of the psychic troop in your team were indeed killed by me, the reason is indeed the rebellion of the psychic troops. So now, what do you think?" Xia Tian crossed his arms and said meaningfully, "On the one hand, it is my immediate superior, the base commander, who said that base 15 was insurgent and wanted to kill you. On the other hand, you are my old comrade in arms again, a fatal friendship, saying that the psychic army was rebelling, and actually killed the members of the psychic army. I was caught in the middle, and it seemed that I was a little different from the inside and the outside, and it was difficult to make a choice. So, Wang Ling, I want to hear your explanation, come on as a basis for judgment." After saying that, he really looked serious, waiting for Wang Ling's explanation. But Wang Ling smiled and shook his head, breaking his pretense, "Come on, Xia Tian, after the great revenge has been avenged, why do you like to joke so much? I don't know you yet. You are here just watching. I killed the psychic troopers and didn't do anything, so haven't I already made a choice? And you took off your pants and farted to ask me for an explanation? It's unnecessary." As soon as these words came out, several captains in the fire team couldn't help laughing and laughed, and some mobilization soldiers couldn't help but grin. This person is really bold right now, speaking so rudely to their team leader. However, Yantian didn't notice anything. After being exposed, he finally put down all pretense, with a bitter and hateful expression on his face. He nodded heavily and said, "Yes, I have noticed something abnormal, Commander. The order was so abnormal that I had to be on guard. Moreover, I also believe that the leaders of other field teams are not fools. You carried out large-scale operations to kill the psychic troops. Instead of surrounding you, those team leaders did not kill you. Instead, they actually withdrew their troops, and the information contained in this is enough for people to speculate. Wang Ling glanced at him appreciatively and admitted, "It's good to think of this. Indeed, those field teams are willing to retreat because they have personally seen the fact that the psychic troops are rebelling. Although these members of the psychic troops are very aggressive, hidden, but once exposed and killed, the controlled team leader will return to normal in an instant. Anyone with a little bit of brains can figure out who is the rebel. I originally thought that you have not been take control. If you haven't gone through that stage, you will still question me when you see me killing the psychic troops, but it seems that you are a very clever guy. You're a ghost, are you smart?" All of us knew these things in advance. Yan Tian shook his head and said bluntly, "Enough chatter. Commander, I'm worried that I've been controlled by the psychic troops, but I don't know how to deal with this kind of situation. So, Wang Ling, I need your help." Although Yan Tian is not as arrogant as Zhang Yang, nor as cold as Long Gang, he has a kind of fiery and proud nature in his bones. But now even he has to ask Wang Ling for help. It can be seen how confused he is now. Originally, Wang Ling wanted to solve the troubles caused by the psychic troops. Faced with Yan Tian's request for help, there was no reason to refuse. When brothers ask for help, of course they must do their best to help. From various signs, it can be basically judged that the people of your number 8 base are the commander has been controlled by the psychic troops. To rescue the commander, it is actually simple, just kill the psychic troops controlling the commander. It's easy to say, but hard to do. Yan Tian frowned and analyzed. Under control, the commander is not surprised by any orders we give. This time he asked me to kill you, but I didn't do it. He might be there when he returns to the base, order other troops to kill me. Wang Ling also nodded in agreement. Yes, if you disobey orders and are with me, you will definitely be targeted. However, after all, only the commander is controlled, not all the soldiers in the entire base. If the officer's order goes too far, he will be resisted. So I will return to the base with you. The other troops, even if they receive the kill order, will not dare to kill you directly. This is our opportunity. But how big is this chance? You don't know. The commander has begun to brainwash our entire base, saying that base 15 is a rebellion, inciting all personnel to resist, and kill you. I really can't guarantee that this. How effective is the brainwashing? Those troops are very likely to open fire on us. Are you so hopeless? Then we can't wait any longer and dispatch immediately. Over time, they will be completely brainwashed and the entire base will be treated as puppets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 406. After hearing the news, Wang Ling couldn't calm down anymore. The reason why he was still confident that he could kill the psychic troops at base number 8 and rescue their commander was, to put it bluntly, because of Yan Tian's influence. Go to base 8 with Xia Tian. If others want to fire back, you should be a little wary. But if the brainwashing lasts too long and Xia Tian's influence becomes smaller and smaller, it will be even more difficult to break into the number 8 base command post at that time. Okay, let's take action now. The brainwashing time isn't too long yet. Naturally, Xia Tian had no objection. Afterwards, the two briefly discussed and made specific arrangements. Such a big event happened on the battlefield, and the battle for hegemony could not be continued for the time being. The fire team had no intention of fighting anymore, so they simply used all the anti-aircraft tracked vehicles, each carrying 5 mobilization troops, while Yan Tian followed Wang alone. Ling got on the Wolf Group's tracked vehicle together, and the entire tracked vehicle convoy began to head towards base number 8. As for the remaining soldiers and tanks, they would not wait any longer from here. The provincial Allied forces took the opportunity to make a sneak attack. Under Xia Tian's order, they collectively turned around and began to return. What the hell are the coalition forces doing? The rebellion of the psychic troops was discovered by Wang Ling and they were suppressed on a large scale. Their influence on the battlefield was increasing. As an old rival of the Allied forces, the Allied forces General Command has noticed that something is wrong, and is now a little confused about the situation. In the General Command post, General Bob kept moving the electronic map for observation, and his mind was full of question marks. The coalition forces are in a good situation, but we are showing a defeated posture, but we suddenly gave up the attack. What the hell is this? Is there any plan to lure us into sending troops so that we can deal a bigger blow at a smaller cost? Originally, the rebellion of the psychic troops interrupted the rhythm of the coalition's general offensive, which was a good thing for the Allies, but General Bob was too sensitive, fearing that the coalition was stumbling upon them. Agent Tanya, on the other hand, had a sharp eye. General, I think it was a fire in the backyard of the coalition forces. It doesn't seem to be fake. If you look carefully, there are many anti-aircraft crawlers active on the battlefield, clearing out the same military unit in a large area. I observe this type of military unit. After a long time, it is very difficult to directly control our troops with their minds. Perhaps these troops suddenly rebelled and quietly controlled some officers and soldiers, but were discovered by the coalition forces. Now they are trying their best to clean up this type of troops. Maybe. Really? Think about it carefully, it is possible. General, this is an opportunity for us. Taking advantage of this opportunity to launch a sudden attack, we can completely catch the coalition forces off guard. Maybe we can take the opportunity to counterattack and eliminate one or two coalition bases. Agent Tanya flashed in front of her eyes. Liang, seizing the opportunity to fight, began to contribute strategies. No. However, General Bob did not adopt it this time. Instead, he analyzed, not to mention that it is possible that the coalition forces set a trap for us. Even if there is a real civil strife, we suddenly send troops at this time. Originally, they had no time to take care of us, but such a disturbance may attract a group of their field groups to fight for their lives, which is not worth the loss for us. And if you look carefully, many field groups who have given up fighting are already returning to their respective bases. If we go to attack under such circumstances, we are afraid that we will be in trouble. You won't be able to eat the good fruit. As a member of the Allied commander, General Bob had to think more. After all, he had already seen the madness of the Allied forces in combat. These possible risks could completely cause the Allied forces to suffer heavy losses. He did not dare to make such a decision easily. Agent Tanya gave him a strange look, and finally shook her head. Forget it, I'm just making a suggestion. It's up to you whether you adopt it or not. But it would be a pity to miss such a great opportunity. While the Allied forces were confused, on the battlefield, Wang Ling, Yan Tian, and the advance soldiers of the Hehuo group had quickly arrived at base number 8 with the help of the rapidity of the anti-aircraft crawler vehicles. However, to be on the safe side, they did not rush in immediately. Instead, they stopped outside the range of the two magnetic storm coils at the entrance and all got out of the car. Facts have proved that their concerns were indeed correct. The commander of base number 8 has issued an order to kill the members of the fire team. Now at this entrance, the two magnetic storm coils seem to be gathering energy at all times, preparing to kill the two. The sentry artillery was also well prepared, and there were even a large number of guards at the main intersection, completely blocking the entrance, holding submachine guns and looking nervous. After seeing this posture, Xia Tian was actually a little annoyed. He stood at the edge of the fire circle of the magnetic storm coil and shouted, "What are you doing? I've rebelled against you. Get out of my way." As the leader of the fire team in Xia Tian, he has every right to order these soldiers to give way. However, this group of guards had received the order from the commander after all. Faced with Xia Tian's strong attitude, they were very embarrassed. One of the mobilization soldiers said, "Team leader Xia Tian, we have received the order from the commander, saying you have been incited to rebel by base number 15, and we want to kill you here." "Really? Then do you think I'm really rebelling? Are you confused? Such an extreme order would be issued by our commander? I'm here now. If you want to kill me, shoot." As he spoke, Xia Tian stepped directly into the fire range of the magnetic storm coil. Even the group of soldiers who fired casually could reach him. Hey, Yu Wangling was shocked when he saw it. After all, he was risking his life. However, Xia Tian made the right bet. This fiery temper was in line with his identity. Those guards and the magnetic storm coil could obviously kill him at any time, but Xia Tian was here, and none of them dared to open fire. Even the magnetic storm coils and sentry guns were misfired. However, after all, there was an order, and these mobilization soldiers refused to get out of the way. Another mobilization soldier advised, "Sir, don't make it difficult for us. This is the commander's order. If you go forward, we will shoot." "Asshole." However, Xia Tian did not buy it and continued to take 2 steps forward while cursing, "Are you stupid? Or did you get kicked in the head by a donkey? Is it the ice team? If you can't make a decision, give me your team leader call." He also realized that this group of conscripts did not dare to shoot, but they also did not dare to give way. After all, their positions were too low and they had no right to make the decision. Team leader Yantian is still so hot. As soon as Xia Tian finished speaking, a slightly chilling voice came from behind the mobilization group. Then, the mobilization group took the initiative to move out of the way, revealing a mobilization wearing a captain's rank epaulet, who was obviously the leader of the ICE group. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 407. The leader of the ICE team is 1.9 meters tall, as strong as an ox, with slightly dark skin and rough facial features, but together they are quite attractive. Especially those pupils, the gaze revealed seems to be inherently cold, which is impressive. Bing Miao. Have you always been around here to watch the excitement? Xia Tian stared at Bing Miao, the ICE team leader, and asked, "Why, do you even think that I rebelled?" Bing Miao's personality tends to be cold, but on this matter, he did not have any clear hostile stance. He just shook his head and said, "Of course I can't believe it, but this is the commander's order. As a subordinate, I just executing orders." Confused. But after hearing this, Xia Tian was a little angry. "Bing Miao, you are still the leader of the ICE team, don't you even have this sensitive awareness? Think about it for yourself, is the order issued by the commander recently normal? Is this an order that our commander would normally issue? Such an extreme order is inherently abnormal." Bing Miao himself was not stupid, and he did not feel surprised by Xia Tian's words, and replied with a sneer, "Nonsense, if the order was normal, I would have ordered the members of the Bing group to open fire long ago, otherwise I would have kept you here till now, scolding me for these things." Bing Miao, who was emotional, had also noticed something abnormal a long time ago, and deliberately suppressed the members of the ICE group and the defense facilities in the base. No wonder, there is no simple person who can become the leader of a large field team. However, just when Xia Tian was a little surprised, Bing Miao immediately changed his tone and glanced at Wang Ling. "I won't completely trust you until the matter is clear. The commander said that there was a rebellion at base 15, blocking the progress of the war for hegemony everywhere, at least judging from the current form, it is indeed possible. After your fire team came into contact with the people of base 15, you also began to show some abnormalities. How can I trust you? Unusual." The topic all turned to Wang Ling, which made Wang Ling unable to watch any longer. He bravely walked to Xia Tian and said sarcastically, the one who is abnormal is not Xia Tian, but you. More accurately say, it's your commander. After all, the ICE team members were worried about Yan Tian before and did not dare to shoot. But now that Wang Ling had entered the fire circle, a group of ICE team members immediately became particularly sensitive and pointed their submachine guns at Wang Ling. Even the magnetic storm coil is gathering energy in an instant and may launch a powerful electromagnetic attack at any time, killing Wang Ling. However, Bing Miao suppressed the situation and stopped it. They did not dare to make a decision at will until the matter was completely understood. After putting down his hand, Bing Miao stared at Wang Ling with a hint of dissatisfaction. How do you get the qualifications to say that our commander is abnormal? Why do you say that? Snort. Wang Ling snorted coldly, and immediately released his mental pressure on Bing Miao and even the mobilization soldiers blocking the road. In an instant, a wave of fear and pressure on the battlefield immediately covered this group of people. This mental coercion has been tried and tested in reality. Ordinary people who have not experienced the baptism of war are very afraid of this kind of coercion. However, in the world of Red Alert, a group of soldiers who are crawling around on the tip of a knife are very concerned about this. Strong immunity. When the Hyogami people noticed it, they just frowned and didn't feel much fear. And Wang Ling didn't expect them to do anything. He maintained this mental pressure and explained, "Is that Bing Miao? I believe you are not a fool. You should have seen my fighting power from electronic videos. As long as you give me a certain safe distance, I can cause huge losses to you all by myself, and I may even wipe out all of you." Arrogant. Who is he? His breath is louder than athlete's foot. These words are really infuriating. Are we so vulnerable? As soon as Wang Ling said these words, the guards in the Bing group immediately became agitated, and they showed great dissatisfaction in their words. Even Bing Miao had a sullen face, but did not argue anything, and was still waiting for Wang Ling's next words. And Wang Ling didn't care how dissatisfied these soldiers were, and continued to talk to himself, "But, I have no enmity with you, why should I attack you? When the turmoil started, I killed everyone from beginning to end. It's the psychic army. You have never been controlled before, so you don't know how big a threat this psychic army is. Why can my soldiers easily dissuade other field groups from suspending defense? Because the leaders of those field groups have personally experienced being controlled. Fear, otherwise you think you can make them believe that the psychic army is rebelling with empty words." As soon as these words came out, the soldiers in the ICE group who were originally complaining immediately became silent. Bing Miao had also noticed something abnormal a long time ago, but now that Wang Ling pointed it out directly, she fell into deep thought. What are you doing? Do you all want to rebel collectively? Kill them quickly. While deep in thought, in the command post, the commander was urging the ICE team members to open fire again. However, this time there was no deliberate suppression by Bing Miao, and no one in Bing's group fired. Even the buildings they were guarding put out their fires. The commander was so angry that he flew into a rage. "I've rebelled against you. I've rebelled against you." Wang Ling couldn't receive this radio frequency band. He didn't know what happened just now, and he continued to talk. "Now, the war situation is indeed in chaos. There is a rebellion within the coalition. But the rebel is not us, nor is it you, are not even your commander, but the psychic troops. Now that your commander is making all kinds of abnormal decisions, it only means that your commander has been controlled by the psychic troops and has become a puppet. And your commander, I brainwashed you again and said that our base was in rebellion. Isn't the ultimate goal just to get you to send troops and disrupt the coalition forces?" The other members of the ICE team continued to remain silent, but Bing Miao had already realized the seriousness of the matter, but still seemed a little unbelievable. "What you said is indeed possible. But, how can I believe you? It's very simple. Once you enter the command post with us, you'll know what's going on, At this time, Xia Tian also started to interject, "I dare to say that the psychic troops are now controlling the commander." His words, this line all means psychic troops. Now, the commander can be said to be in a very dangerous situation and needs us to rescue him. That's right, Bing Miao, since you don't know what's going on, let us take you to see with your own eyes and see who is rebelling. If there are no psychic troops in the command post, then I, Wang Ling, can do whatever I want. You handle it, Wang Ling added, finally putting down his harsh words. And after all the talk, how could Bing Miao still have any reason to refuse? After a slight hesitation, he finally nodded sternly, "Okay, then I'll listen to you and follow you to the command post to have a look." Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 408. Good. After much persuasion, Bing Miao was finally persuaded. Seeing is worth hearing, and facts speak louder than words. As long as they can enter the command post and see the rebellion of the psychic troops with their own eyes, everyone at the number 8 coalition base will know the truth of the matter. Time is urgent, don't delay, otherwise things will change if you are too late. Hurry up and enter the command post. Wang Ling urged. Yes, in order to prevent the psychic troops from escaping, Bing Miao and the soldiers of the Bing group distributed around the command post hope to take action as soon as possible to surround the command post. Just go in with the two of us and see what happens. Bar. Okay, I'll go crazy with you this time. Bing Miao also made up her mind. Team leader, do you really want to do this? On the side, a member of the ICE team seemed a little lacking in confidence, but was glared back by Bing Miao. Just do what you say. Bing Miao is also a resolute person, which suits Wang Ling's appetite. He immediately ordered the other soldiers of the ICE group in the base to surround the command post. No matter how the commander roared on the radio, he would not do anything. After paying attention, he followed Wang Ling and Xia Tian, boarded the Wolf Group's anti-aircraft tracked vehicle, and quickly broke into base number 8. During this process, under Bing Miao's signal, all the mobilization soldiers blocking the road took the initiative to give way, and all the magnetic storm coils and sentry guns also chose to let go. The air defense tracked vehicle was unimpeded and quickly arrived at the command center. In front of them, the three people quickly got out of the car and broke into the command post. Now in this command post, 2 deputies have been massacred, and other obstructive staff have also been massacred. However, due to the characteristics of this game world, these people did not leave corpses behind, but only highlighted an empty command hall. Only 2 figures exist among them, the commander of base number 8, and a member of the psychic force. I've rebelled against you. Bing Miao, are you also rebelling? Hurry up and kill them. Seeing these 3 people breaking in, both the commander and the members of the psychic force were all panicked. The commander was still sparing no effort to order the killing, but when Bing Miao saw these 2 people, she gritted her teeth, looking in disbelief. However, Wang Ling had no intention of nagging, and he didn't even have time to say hello to Yan Tian and Bing Miao before he approached directly. Stop! Get out of the way! Snapped. The commander wanted to stop Wang Ling himself, so he jumped up and even took out his Babisha submachine gun. But how could Wang Ling, a pervert, be stopped by him alone? As soon as the commander approached, he was slapped over by Wang Ling with a backhand. He spun 360 degrees in the air and fell to the ground. His face was slightly swollen, and there were even 4 faintly visible fingerprints. But Wang Ling's violent behavior made Yan Tian and Bing Miao stunned. Of course, the current scene has already indicated that the commander is under control, but this is their commander after all. But in the end he was slapped by Wang Ling? If word of this spreads, how many people's jaws will be shocked? Stop! Wang Ling didn't care at all. After knocking over the commander, the member of the psychic troop became even more panicked. He turned around and wanted to run away, but Wang Ling yelled violently, rushed forward, grabbed the clothes of the psychic trooper and pulled him back. With a tug, he was thrown backward, and then he stepped on the chest of the psychic trooper. "Stop! Stop! We don't allow little people like you to destroy our plans." Damn it, they were controlled almost instantly, and the members of the psychic force felt hatred in their hearts. But Wang Ling had no intention of paying attention to him. He stretched out his right index finger and pointed it at the eyebrows of the psychic troops. The lightning flashed and he looked up at Yan Tian and Bing Miao and said, "Now is the time to prove my innocence. Watch out. Now, don't blink. Wang Ling. If you dare to kill me, the leader will not let you go." Even when death is imminent, this member of the psychic army is still threatening. But Wang Ling and his men killed too many members of the psychic army. They didn't worry about too many accounts and didn't buy too many lies. They just snorted coldly and a powerful electromagnetic current flashed between their index fingers. It was shot out like a bolt of lightning, penetrating the forehead of the psychic troop, and instantly killed him. And at the moment when the psychic troops died in the battle, the red spiritual power connection that originally connected between his eyebrows and the head of the commander of Base 8 suddenly stood out, and then broke and disappeared in an instant. With the end of the mind control, Commander Number 8, who was originally knocked to the ground and looked like a madman, felt a surge of energy all over his body and regained consciousness in an instant. What he had done after being controlled emerged in his mind. For a moment, I felt a little overwhelmed. Not only the commander, but also Yan Tian and Bing Miao were a little stunned. Bing Miao was half convinced and half doubtful before, and although Xia Tian said he believed Wang Ling, he was actually 70% convinced and 30% doubtful before. But now that he really saw the truth of the matter, he was equally shocked from the bottom of his heart. The most calm person on the scene was probably Wang Ling. After this guy solved the psychic troops and rescued the commander, he took a look at the scene and gave a military salute to the commander very calmly. "At base number 15, Wang Ling, the leader of the Wolf Group, has met the general. Sir. Forced by the previous situation, eager to eliminate the turmoil, I have offended many people, and I hope you will forgive me." He looked calm on the surface, and what he said was very grand, but in fact, he was a little gloating in his heart. Faced with the commander's obstruction before, Wang Ling actually had many ways to deal with it, but he slapped him without thinking. Although it was said that he was eager to eliminate the turmoil, in fact, it was intentional. When members of his wolf group tried to dissuade and kill the psychic troops, they were also counterattacked by their own troops and suffered some casualties. Although the root cause of all this was that the psychic troops were controlling it, these controlled commanders could he also put in a lot of effort, so Wang Ling inevitably felt a little angry and took the opportunity to vent. Of course, there must be such an excuse, otherwise, facing the commander who has regained consciousness, even if he lends Wang Ling some courage, he would not dare to slap the commander in the face. Hearing Wang Ling's voice, the commander finally came to his senses. After standing up, he was about to say something, but the pain on his face made him take a breath of air and helplessly touched the slightly swollen. He glared at Wang Ling and said, "You kid, can't you be gentler? I'm old enough, so you can't do anything good to me anymore." Although the tone was a rebuke, after all, the commander had rescued him from the psychic troops and had no intention of taking the opportunity to retaliate. This was just a complaint. After hearing this meaning, Wang Ling snickered, but pretended to understand the righteousness and replied, "General, the situation is tense, and the psychic troops are very dangerous. I'm afraid that if it's too late, he will release a shockwave, and all of us their lives are in danger, so I'm very sorry." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 409. It's such a very serious statement. Although it's an apology, what it actually means is that I rescued you and slapped you, so you just have to deal with it. This mentality is like that of a hungry man who is not afraid of anyone after he has eaten and drank enough. It is also like that of a naughty kid who refuses to accept anyone after finishing his homework. It is also like that of a salesman who cannot speak well to anyone after the business is concluded. Used. Anyway, I'm just a bachelor. I've done everything, what can you do to me? You are so thick-skinned. In the end, Commander number 8 had nothing to do with him. After complaining, he could not see him outside. He even forgot about the pain on his face. When he recalled being controlled, he felt a wave of fear in his heart. What a terrifying psychic army. After taking control of me, I feel like a conscious puppet, serving the psychic army wholeheartedly, even betraying the coalition forces. Hearing what he said, Yan Tian and Bing Miao glanced at each other, and each noticed the solemn look on the other's face. Afterwards, Yan Ke turned his head and said solemnly, "Wang Ling, thank you very much." Wang Ling, however, didn't care much. "I'm an old comrade in my own army. What should I thank you for? I just want to put down the civil strife as soon as possible so as to reduce the losses of my own army." "No, thank you." But the commander interrupted him and even gave Wang Ling a military salute in return. Base 15, Team Leader Wang Ling, on behalf of the entire base, I want to thank you. If you hadn't helped Yan Tian and the others rescue me in time, I can't even imagine what Base 8 can do under the control of the psychic force. Fortunately, you came early, otherwise I would regret it if you really did those things. General, you are serious. Wang Ling returned the salute and quickly avoided the topic. Base 8 is safe now, but there are still some bases that are still under the threat of psychic troops. Not a time to relax. That's right. Speaking of which, I just wanted to remind you. Commander number 8 thought of something and hurriedly said, "When I was controlled, I also had my own memory. Within the coalition, including me, there were a total of 4 commanders who were controlled, except me. And Commander number 1, Commander number 6, and Commander number 12. The psychic troops behind them have discussed with each other, and their plans have been disrupted by you. Now they are sparing no effort to cause huge damage to the coalition forces. Now they are also doing what I did before, they are brainwashing their own troops. Once the brainwashing is successful, their guns will turn to the coalition forces and create maximum civil strife, causing considerable harm." When Wang Ling heard this, he frowned. The intentions of this psychic army are quite sinister. That's right. So Wang Ling, I will appease the soldiers of Base 8 and contact you, the commander of Base 15, to tell me everything I know. And you, just go with Xia Tian and bring some elites of Base number 8, hurry up and stop and rescue those commanders. If you are late, the consequences will be very serious, Commander number 8 said righteously, with half of his face slightly swollen and 4 faintly visible fingerprints. This obviously very serious scene actually looked vaguely funny. However, Wang Ling also understood the importance and did not have those messy thoughts. He gave a solemn military salute. Yes. Time waits for no one. After rescuing Commander number 8, Wang Ling didn't have much time to talk nonsense. After bidding farewell to the commander, he left with Xia Tian and dozens of elite mobilization troops in an anti-aircraft crawler vehicle. Base number 8. Originally, Wang Ling didn't know which base commanders were controlled. He just saw that the Wolf Group soldiers were killed by the field team of base number 12, so he targeted base number 12. However, after hearing Commander number 8 talk about the other 3 bases, Wang Ling directly changed his target and drove to base number 6. Wang Ling is not a saint. He also has his own selfish motives. For a rescue like this, the faster the better, the faster the safer. The commander of base 6 is his old chief. Compared with the other 2 bases, he is naturally more inclined to rescue Major General Lovsky. After Wang Ling and the others left, Commander Number 8 quickly became busy. Originally, he planned to walk out of the command post in person and explain everything to the soldiers who had been brainwashed by him. But as soon as he was about to go out, the pain on his face made him feel a little dull, and he cursed Wang Ling fiercely. One sound, and then the next best thing was to use the radio and explain it to all the base soldiers. Brainwashing is very difficult and requires gradual deception, but it is very simple to break this scam, especially since Wang Ling and the others have made trouble here before, so the explanation was very smooth. After calming down the soldiers at his base, Commander Number 8 quickly contacted General Li Wiki, commander of base number 15, and explained everything to him. General Li Wiki was overjoyed when he learned that Wang Ling had successfully rescued the commander of base number 8. He quickly connected Commander No 8's radio to the previously connected large frequency band, allowing him to directly communicate with other base commanders to reveal all this. Originally, there were some diehards among these base commanders who still refused to believe that the psychic troops were rebelling. However, Commander Number 8 tried the method himself, and with his explanation, those diehards had no choice but to accept this fact. Then came the next step of siege and rescue. At base number 6, Wang Ling has already led a team to rescue. The remaining base commanders have set their sights on base number 12 and base number 1. They have sent vanguard troops one after another, hoping to follow Wang Ling's approach. First of all, surround these two bases, and then try to kill the psychic force members behind them. Of course, this was impossible at this moment. Just as they were deploying, Wang Ling had already led Yan Tian and a group of elite mobilization troops to the number 6 base. The situation in this base is somewhat special. Two members of the psychic force are all in the base. One has controlled Major General Lovsky, and the other has controlled the leader of a large field group. Another large field group is still on the front line, attacking the Allied base. Now in base number 6, the two powerful figures have all been controlled. It can be said that they are almost completely controlled by the psychic troops. However, something happened that was beyond everyone's expectations. The member of the psychic force who controlled the leader of the field team should not have acted so bravely and directly came to the entrance to confront Wang Ling. As a result, Wang Ling saw him. Standing outside the firepower range of the magnetic storm coil, launched an electromagnetic attack from an ultra-long distance, killing him instantly and rescuing the controlled field team leader. After personally experiencing the process of being controlled, and now being rescued, the leader of the field team also understood the truth of the matter. Wang Ling did not explain for long, and the team leader took the initiative to lead Wang Ling and the others to Major General Lovsky. Under the sound of curses, he was introduced into the command post. Having had the experience of rescuing the commander of base number 8, the member of the psychic force in command post number 6 became wise. As soon as he saw Wang Ling, he wanted to release a shockwave to kill everyone. However, each mountain is higher than the other, and Wang Ling is a little more sinister than him. They just met, and without saying a word, he directly launched a powerful electromagnetic current. Different Dimension Red Alert World. Author, Sanqian Lang. Chapter 410. G. Wang Ling launched this electromagnetic current without warning and very quickly, almost in the blink of an eye. Moreover, this is not a large-scale battle. Wang Ling has accurately concentrated it on a single point, which is enough to cover nearly 50 enemy infantry. As a result, this thick electromagnetic current instantly hit the body of the psychic army. The powerful destructive power blasted away the members of the psychic army and hit the wall of the command hall, causing cracks in the wall. It wasn't until Wang Ling put away the electromagnetic current that he slowly fell from the wall. His entire body had been electrocuted to the point of being torn apart, and the flesh was so rotten that it was shocking. Boom! When the psychic troops fell to the ground, everyone present felt their hearts pounding. Wang Ling's attack was so fast and powerful that no one present could withstand such an attack. At the same moment when the psychic troop died, a red spiritual connection between his eyebrows and Major General Lovsky's head also became prominent. It immediately broke and disappeared, and Major General Lovsky recovered. It's normal. Returning to normal after mind control is like being suddenly awakened from sleepwalking, and it is also very exciting. Major General Lovsky is no exception. He was shocked on the spot, and his brain was hazy for a short time, and gradually remembered all the things he did while being controlled. It feels like recalling the content of a dream, but the difference is that these memories are much clearer than dreams, and people know immediately that this is what happened. After a while, Major General Lovsky woke up from this state, and then he gasped in fear. At this time, the bodies of the members of the psychic army had gradually disappeared, and Wang Ling also performed a military salute. "Sir, welcome back, long time no see." This shout also brought Major General Lovsky back to his senses. He stared at Wang Ling with a complicated expression for a long time, and finally sighed, "Unexpectedly, I was known as the worst in the army in the barracks, but unexpectedly rose up early." The young man who walked out of the military camp is now a lieutenant colonel, and he is very strong. Isn't it? When Wang Ling first entered the battlefield and entered Lovsky's command, he was just a veteran-level private. Major General Lovsky witnessed Wang Ling's extraordinary growth step by step, and even personally wore it for him. New rank shoulder insignia. Later, due to some changes, Wang Ling left, and Major General Lovsky himself went to train for gold plating. When he came back and saw Wang Ling, he didn't expect that this guy had grown to this height. Thinking back carefully, it's really amazing to think about the clouds of smoke and white clouds and dogs in the past. Facing this old leader, Wang Ling was filled with nostalgia and giggled. For a moment, he didn't even know how to answer him. But Major General Lovsky took the initiative to ask, "How are you these days? How is Xiao Zhao?" Finally having something to say, Wang Ling quickly replied, "Sir, we are all fine. Brother Zhao now has the rank of major. He serves as General Li Wiki's deputy at Base 15. I am also the Wolf Team member of Base 15 commander. When we first learned that you would be the commander of Base 6, we were very excited and wanted to meet you. However, due to the war, it was difficult. Ha ha ha, Xiao Zhao did a good job. But you are a bit more perverted. Your military rank has already surpassed that of Xiao Zhao." Major General Lovsky smiled. Wang Ling shrugged his shoulders, skipped the topic, and asked, "Sir, have you suffered any grievances while being controlled?" Wang Ling was too lazy to care about other base commanders, but this was the old chief after all. "I get angry when I talk about this." When this topic was mentioned, Major General Lovsky changed his previous kindness and became filled with resentment. These people from the psychic army are really going to rebel. Even I dare to control them. During this period of time they were controlled. Here, I watched helplessly as I did one thing against my will, said a series of words that made me feel ashamed, and led everyone in the base to the path of rebellion, as if I were a puppet. Who wouldn't be proud to be a general and commander? No one can accept being controlled and controlled like a puppet by touching someone quietly, and Major General Lovsky is no exception. And just as he said this, Major General Lovsky suddenly thought of something, quickly connected to the radio, and shouted, "Members of the Dragon Team, listen to the order, the war situation has changed, give up the attack immediately and retreat quickly." When he was previously controlled by the psychic force, Major General Lovsky could be said to have spared no effort in urging the Dragon Team to attack. He wished that the Dragon Team members would perish together with the Allied forces base, so as to weaken the coalition forces as much as possible. But after regaining consciousness and knowing the ridiculous things he had done, Major General Lovsky had to change the order quickly. As for the Dragon group that fought earlier, they were really attacking crazily during this period. With the help of the previous bombing by Kirov airships, they did knock down a large number of buildings in the target Allied base and annihilated a large number of guards. However, our own side has already suffered more than half of its casualties. If the fight continues, the number of casualties will be even greater. Although it is said that when there is a war, there are sacrifices. If it were a normal decisive battle, I would rather fight for these casualties than annihilate the enemy. But now, with the internal turmoil and the rebellion of the psychic troops, it is indeed not suitable to spread the troops and attack the Allies. As for the leader of the Dragon Group, they had already noticed something abnormal through the electronic map. However, the commander kept urging them to attack, so they had to concentrate on the attack. Now that they had received the order to retreat, the leader of the Dragon Group was also relieved. He waved his hand and quickly gave the order to retreat. Major General Lovsky breathed a sigh of relief after seeing the Dragon Group withdraw. Wang Ling also took the opportunity to check the situation of base number 12 and base number 1 from the electronic map in the command hall. It seemed that the other bases had come to their senses, knew the truth of the matter, and began to surround these two bases. There are also people negotiating at the intersection at the big base, just like Wang Ling did before. But Major General Lovsky sighed deeply when he saw this scene. Oh no, we trusted the psychic troops too much before and let them control them. My luck is good. I met you and was rescued in advance. But the other two bases are really finished. Huh? Sir, what do you mean? When Wang Ling heard this, he immediately felt something bad in his heart. Before Major General Lovsky could explain, it was seen in the electronic video that the two bases seemed to have discussed it. A large number of engineers from the bug branch walked out of the command post and took advantage of the fact that the leading troops failed to enter the base. Started a large-scale activity, dismantling almost all the buildings in the base one by one.